graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
The 3 victims were part of a CXS...
Fuck her right in the pussy!
Oh, I don't care if she's whining. Hell, I'd fuck her. You can't say you wouldn't fuck her. Maybe that's what I'll do when they find her. I'll go and fuck her. Fuck her right in the pussy.
It took crews longer than anticipated to find the crack in the 64-year-old pipeline. I'm standing here with Fred, who says he was greatly impacted by the gushing of oil. Can you tell us a little more of what you saw?
I sure can. I was sitting on my front porch, grabbed the beer, and fuck her right in the pussy.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And Paul, grab life by the pussy. Let's just start out with that. No.
Why would you start out with
that?
No,
well, actually, it kind of goes into, let's go right into the beginning of Superfan Oscar sharing, he sent us an email.
Yep.
And he says, let's go jump right into Oscar's email. Just get that out of the way.
Well.
He says, we need pistol packing Urkel. I promise that I'm going to be getting Wi-Fi really, really soon. Only because,
you're such a liar.
Well, it's just, I
know you like having these warm nights with me.
There's so much shit I got to do. I got to upload. Because hopefully when you're watching this, where you're listening to us on SoundCloud, technically we haven't been removed from Podomatic yet. They deducted money from my account.
Oh, really?
And I fought it, and PayPal kind of refunded me the money. But for some reason, Podomatic still has us up. But I'm not going to post this on Podomatic. I'm going to post it to SoundCloud. So hopefully things will stream over pretty well. We're going to do the crossover as we switch over from iTunes, as we switch over to Stitcher, as we switch over. I think now we're going to add the Google Play Store for podcasts. Maybe Pandora also, because a friend of mine brought that to my attention. Pandora's doing a podcast now also.
How do you just...
I don't know. Well, I haven't figured it out yet, but it's like to just listen to the random podcast. That'd be interesting.
Toonami Faithful is now on Google Play. We're also on the TuneIn Radio app.
Uh-huh.
You've seen that before, right?
No, I haven't.
Well, let me educate you since I have my phone right here.
Meanwhile, right before we're recording this, Paul is watching fucking WWE.
Shut up.
Jen says now there's an echo that we're recording. It might.
I think it's
my headphones.
Yeah, it's your headphones right there.
My headphones were. I just muted it, so
I can hear it over here.
Yeah.
So, TuneIn app.
Tune in.
You can't probably see it live, but the TuneIn app, you can get any radio station.
Uh-huh.
It's really funny because, like, you can see Toonami Faithful Podcast.
Uh-huh.
You can submit it. There's a way to do it. You just search it, and then you can just submit it.
I'll let you submit it. So,
I gotta do this shit.
Well, no, okay, so back to Oscar's letter. He says, as you guys wind down for the election, it does blow my mind that, like, we're, like,
2 weeks out.
3
weeks? Yeah.
Because it's, like, November 8th, and we're recording this on the 17th, so another 2 more weeks. You still got Halloween in between now and the election.
Yep.
And hopefully clowns don't come and kill us all. Because you got creepy clowns. Clowns are actually taking over.
I will predict right now that there's going to be a lot of murders.
Not murders. People are going to be beating down clowns.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a lot of clowns that are going to get murdered.
And part of me wants to be a clown for Halloween. Like, I want to just be an asshole. But then again, one, I don't want to get my ass beat. And two, my daughter is planning to dress up like a cheerleader. Because her brother's going to dress up like a football player. Her mom is going to dress up like a referee. So I'm thinking, what could I be? I could be the coach. So I bought a whistle. I'll just, like, iron the word coach. Like, get those stupid iron-ons from Walmart and iron coach across my shirt. But that's the plan right now. But if I didn't have to do a costume that was related to my daughter, I would probably be a clown this year. Just to be an asshole. And I have, like, I have the clown nose. I have clown shoes. But just be like a fucked up clown. But actually,
aren't you already a fucked up clown?
Yeah, well, yeah. My whole life is a fucked up clown. But so I just I want to. So okay, so we got Halloween right around the corner. You know, I'm gearing up for it. It's funny. I put more fucking pictures on Facebook with like makeup and masks on, and fucking Halloween comes around and I'm dressed up like a stupid coach. But it's for my daughter. So so you saw my picture when I posted the makeup on, saying that I'm Harley Quinn.
That got a lot of traffic, though. I will say that
We're gonna have so many Harley Quinns this year. Like there was at New York Comic Con. And
by the way, I don't know what the hell was possessing you to do that shit, but don't ever do that again.
Well, come on, it's funny to see a big fat guy with bald head and goatee wearing makeup and stuff like. It's funny.
Me and Darrell cannot look at you any different. We cannot look at you.
I'm secure enough in my manhood that I can wear makeup, and I still love the pussy. But
sometimes I wonder.
But I'm totally secure in my manhood, so I can put on makeup and.
So we keep jumping over Oscar.
We keep jumping over. But what I liked is that when I dyed I put the paint in my beard. Also, so I had blue in my beard and pink in my beard, so I could be one of those 50. Because let me tell you, the New York Comic Con had so many Harley Quinns. I had said it like a joke, but it's true. There were just a ridiculous amount.
Holy shit! My computer actually upgraded.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know people that are watching live, they're probably like, what are you looking at? I have my computer over here, and it's
one of those stupid updates. I came here the other day because I needed to upload some interviews to John Galbo, and my computer did an upgrade that was took 15 minutes.
Yeah, but yours should be faster than mine. That's the thing. Mine is
I think it's just
almost 10 years old. I'm going to be honest with you. That computer over there, and I know nobody can see this or if you're hearing this, but that computer over there has lasted a long time. And I'm really happy with what I have. I'm going to have to eventually get a better computer because that way I can stream shit and do stuff better. But,
Well, you would think it would take 2 seconds to stream off the webcam on the which I guess if we went to Google Hangouts, but I like Facebook Live, so we're gonna do Facebook Live. What I wish we could kind of we could put it in landscape format.
Well, what would happen is what we could do is, and this becomes really complicated, and then it takes up more application time, so we don't know. I mean, you could actually probably take the audio from the video, but pretty much you would get an app like. What the hell did I use? I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But you have to use a broadcast app, and then that'll allow you to broadcast to Facebook. But here's the fucked up part. So you can broadcast from your phone without using an application, but you have to use an application on your computer to broadcast.
Because they know people like me would just be... Because what I would seriously if I had... I would try to put money into making it look professional, with a desk and... You and I sitting, side by side with the
Trust
microphones.
me,
I would set up in my apartment, but...
I have some ideas in the back of my head that I would like to do, but I don't know. I have no idea, if I can make them happen.
I want to make it like Morning Zoo, with bells and whistles and... Ding, ding,
well, you should understand, I think, because... ToNotBeFaithful.com, I'm sitting there ooh, idea. But I don't...
Yeah, but you guys record over Skype. You're not in the same room. At least, if we were together, I'd say, look, Paul, come over to my house.
Let
me wipe down
chair. I'll explain to you after, because I don't want anybody that listens to this, if they, my competition hears this shit.
They're going to steal your
Let's just say,
ideas.
Yeah, they don't need to be stealing my fucking ideas, no.
And once again, to everyone streaming at home, feel free to join in and contribute.
Yes.
So, let me see. Okay, Aramis says he finally updated his computer from Windows 95. It only took 4 years. I think he's being sarcastic.
You better be sarcastic. 4 years.
Windows 90. Well, I go to work and when the computers before they turn on to the actual program, it's fucking Windows XP. The computers at work, there's
there's people that are my company upgraded to Windows 7. It wasn't. It used to be. It wasn't XP. It was kind of in between XP and Windows 7, but it was closer to XP. It's kind of weird to explain. Yeah. But once they started not supporting XP, they're you got to change. So that's what we did. But we keep skipping.
Over. Let's go back to Oscar. Okay, Oscar says we need the pistol packing Urkel. So Darrell, as soon as I get Wi-Fi. We're going to have Darrell on an episode.
Yes, we are.
And he goes, as you guys wind down to the election, can you share your presidential candidate which presidential candidate you support. And then, I don't know where the fuck he gets this from. It's quite obvious you guys are probably Trump supporters. Please see the South Park episode where Mr. Garrison, I believe, plays the Trump candidate, and Hillary is herself. Why don't you think Trump? Why don't you think Trump isn't named? Well, one, I mean, he can sue, and Donald Trump seems like a very litigious asshole, and you know,
don't use big words. We don't use big words on this podcast.
Trump like school. Trump like suing.
Did you look that up on the computer when you said it?
No, I'm partially educated. And well, like he's been like just recently. This past weekend they had him on. They had Alec Baldwin was doing an impersonation of him on Saturday Night Live.
Oh god,
and he's
so
like,
good.
And he's tweeting about it. And it's like someone had posted like, "Oh, you're gonna fight ISIS and defeat terrorism, but you're pissed off because someone was making fun of you on Saturday Night Live."
So here's the funny thing about that. Like Trump is actually saying right now that Saturday Night Live is part of the media storm that is causing him that's going to probably cause him not to win. Dude, your affairs, the girls that you touch their pussies.
Yeah, all the pussies you've grabbed.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to do it. So, Oscar, let me answer your question. I am a Hillary Clinton supporter. I was born in '84.
But
President Clinton.
You've been pushing Hillary, even like back when it was just Hillary against Bernie. You were
no. Even before that, I was pushing. I wanted Hillary Clinton over Barack Obama. Now, I'm not saying that Barack Obama didn't do a good job. He did do a good job, and I think it's unfair to judge Barack Obama on his legacy when the Congress has failed us. Because see, what the thing is people just like what we have this live stream right now. You know, the people that are seeing us right now. This technology that we have now, people believe whatever I say on here. So I could say that the world's about to end in 2 minutes. And if some dumb schmuck is on here thinking that's what's going to happen, he's going to go into his little bunker and stand there for like a week. No. You need to look things up. And that's the part of the problem with these Trump supporters is they're not looking things up. They're just taking things as it is. If Trump says that Hillary Clinton was the reason why that one office in North Carolina got firebombed or whatever it was. And thank God nobody was in that, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to believe it. Oh, yeah, it was Hillary. It was Hillary that did that. And here's the funny part. Like, Hillary Clinton, when she went for president the first time, she didn't get nominated as a Democratic nominee. But here's the funny part. Here's the interesting part, I should say. She won the popular vote. Barack Obama won the Electoral College, and that's why he became the Democratic nominee. So, and then number two, when she left as Secretary of State in 2012, I want to say it was, she had a better approval rating than the president. And here's the thing that gets me, and I know I'm trying to sell Hillary Clinton here, but I sat here and I watched for the last 4 years. The minute that she walked out as Secretary of State, that these fucking Republicans, instead of doing their fucking job, trying to, and spending millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer fucking money, which pisses me the fuck off, on this stupid Benghazi bullshit, this, I know I'm talking political here, but it just really pisses me off because...
This is the serious part of the show. We'll get to the dick and fart jokes real soon. But we're answering fan mail. If you want us to talk about something else other than... You can either chime in while you're watching the live stream or write to us at twostrangerspodcast@gmail.com. But as we were saying, we were talking about...
Yeah, so, I mean, my thing is a lot of these people say that Hillary's, did this or did that or whatever. Even with the leaked emails that are coming out now, the WikiLeaks stuff, none of that's been like fucking corroborated. Nothing's been like said, okay, this is an official email from this guy's email server, and on top of that, none of them are from Hillary Clinton herself. So it's like, okay, why are we even talking about this? Then you got this, okay, she released all of her emails. Okay, so why are we talking about this still? Everything's out there. The FBI said she was clear. She's innocent. Can we move on, please? And the Republicans have been talking about this consistently since she left as Secretary of State. That's what I've been trying to say. Because of that, people stupidly watching on their iPhone or Samsung phone or on the computer are sitting here hearing this, and they're going, okay, well, she's got to be guilty. So now we get to this presidential election, and she has a really bad approval rating. Why? Because people are stupid and do not look up information.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And we're not teaching our kids to do that. I'm not saying you're not, and I'm not saying I'm not, but they're not teaching kids to sit there and be like, look, when you get the option to vote, read, go online, don't look at fucking Wikipedia. Look at information, look it up, find out what's true, and then make a decision. Do not believe everything you hear on the news media.
Well, what I don't like is that you go on Facebook and you see like Hillary Clinton's emails leaked. Will definitely get her, arrested or whatever. And then like and you see the site the person's sharing it from.
Yeah.
Like people are sharing stuff from sites that are so obviously biased and so obviously don't do, it makes a wonderful headline and it's definitely clickbait. But then there's people who just read the headline and then they share the article. And then, sometimes I'm curious. I'm like, okay, there's someone, maybe this real deep insider website found a link or something that, that can really fucking put Hillary in jail. Then you click the site and it's like speculating and we spoke to somebody or undisclosed, whatever. It's like, it's such bullshit and people share this shit and they share it like it's fucking real.
And here's another thing too. Like there was an email that was going across Facebook that apparently was from Bernie Sanders or was something like he was paid off to eventually endorse and Hillary, and I put it up and I said, do you people really think that this is true? And there was a lot of people who were like, no, fuck no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so what do we know is true from these WikiLeaks? What do we know is not true?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's getting like really ridiculous out there. I just want this election to be over with so I can stop watching CNN. I can stop. No offense to CNN, but I always watch like a year to 2 years before the election because the primary.
That's when shit starts gearing up.
Right.
We've been talking about fucking this shit for over a year.
Right,
now.
And then after the election, I'm done because I don't want to. Well, I mean, I'll probably watch up through when they get inaugurated, but I'm really done. I can get it all on Facebook.
Well, let's just say Hillary does win. Obviously, Trump is still going to be the same way Trump has gone after Barack Obama for the past fucking 8 years about where's his birth certificate. Trump isn't going to go away. He's still going to be on the news. No. Saturday Night Live has nothing to worry about. I'm just saying. I'm not saying Hillary's going to win. If she wins, Donald Trump isn't fucking going anywhere. He's going to be top of the headlines. He's still going to be, where's the emails? Where he's still going to be a personality. Here's my 2 cents on the issue. Okay, I'm sick and tired of people calling her Killary, like instead of Hillary Kill.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, Killary. She's Hillary Clinton because of the Benghazi thing, the 13 hours, and it's a horrible situation where they sat on their hands and soldiers got killed. You know what? And that's an absolutely horrible thing. It was a gigantic mistake, and unfortunately our servicemen died when their lives could have been saved. Okay, let's take that out of context for a moment and understand. Obviously, people who are calling Hillary Killary are Republicans. Republicans supported George W. Bush. If George W. Bush won, had he reacted in time, we wouldn't have had 9/11. When there were credible fucking intelligence reports saying that fucking Bin Laden was determined to attack on American soil, had he acted back then, okay, and that being said, Bill Clinton could have acted also years ago, and Bill Clinton almost acted, except they didn't want to use the missile. And I'll take that as part of an argument if you want to argue me on that. But George Bush could have prevented 9/11. What about the 3,000 people? Okay, 4 servicemen, it's a horrible thing. What about the 3,000 people who died on 9/11? Yeah. And then also, what about the other countless lives that were lost when we finally did go to war and we attacked the wrong fucking country? We went and attacked Iraq and Afghanistan when fucking Bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan. We should have went straight to Pakistan. Our intelligence, we knew where the fuck he was. So when you talk about Hillary, being responsible for lives and shit like that, George Bush has tons more blood on his hands. Right. If you're like this conservative Republican, and and honestly, what has what has Barack Obama done in the past 10 years? Past 8 years that is so horrible. All these people that are against Barack Obama, if anything, like, okay, and I put this in a Facebook post. I said, shit, I'm still paying less than $3 for a gallon of gas.
Yeah, true.
It was getting up to $4.50, damn near $5.
Yeah.
And here we are towards the end of his term, and we're less than $3. What did Barack Obama do so wrong? Okay, Obamacare. Okay, Obamacare was hard. Was not organized, should I say it should have been organized better? I understand, but at least it's a step in the right direction. His intentions were good, and if it wasn't for fucking Congress and Senate fucking blocking him every which way, Barack Obama, yeah, if you fucking let the man do what he's supposed to do, instead of blocking, and these people were blocking him for the sake of blocking him, just for the sake of politics. I'm not going to let you do a fucking thing because I'm on the opposite team.
Right.
We could have gotten so much shit done in the past 8 years, but politicians got to be politicians and cock block.
Folks, newsflash, the president has no power. Don't let anybody tell you that the president of the United States has power. They don't. They do not have the power. They have to send everything they want to Congress. Congress has to, in both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, has to vote and come together. And then it goes to the president's desk.
I just think it's super obvious that, people were blocking everything that Barack Obama was trying to do just for the sake of being on the other side.
They're blocking his Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Oscar, I am for Hillary Clinton. I am for a sane candidate that will actually take our country in the right direction. And I'm kind of hoping along with that, we will actually get back a lot of the power from the House and the Senate and be able to do the things that we need to do. And I will agree with some people out there. I do not, in regards to the New York State health, not New York State, the health exchange, the federal health exchange. I do think that there's problems. Okay, there's health providers that are pulling out because they can't afford it anymore. There needs to be some changes. I agree. And one of the major changes that needs to happen is it needs to be said that employers are required to give insurance starting after, full time, which I don't know if they want to make that 36, 38 hours, whatever. That has to change. Because I have it, and I work for a company that sits there and says, no, you can't work more than, and that's why I have another part-time job. You can't work more than 28 hours. Mm-hmm. If you do, then we have to give you insurance, and we don't want to do that. It sucks. Mm-hmm. I can't do anything about it. But I will say that I am, I'm glad that I had it, and I'm actually glad that New York State took over, because New York State, the states make their own exchange, but they have to be under the federal. I told people, it's $20 right now for me, insurance, medical insurance. I'm getting covered because I'm under a certain amount of money. Mm-hmm. And I love it. It's great. It's wonderful. I love the exchange right now. Are you kidding me? I love it. Mm-hmm. But, we need to start doing more of this stuff. New York State is actually leading the way, and it needs to start happening more. And I think that needs to happen, and I'm hoping that we'll start to see more jobs. And I will be the first one to tell you, it doesn't look as good as what it used to in Rochester. We used to have so many jobs here, man. Verizon at the end of the year is getting rid of 600 employees. Thank God, Paychex. I think ADT will probably take some. There's a healthcare kind of like call center thing. Mm-hmm. They'll probably take some. I don't know if it's still called Xerox, but whatever their call center was, mm-hmm. they'll probably take people. So it looks like people will have jobs, but it's getting to the point where it's like, do I want to move? Yeah. It's getting shitty out here, honestly, and it's getting. And obviously we're probably not the only place that it's getting shitty, but
Yeah.
So yes, I understand that, but I can't elect a man by. I can't elect Trump. I can't. I can't give a guy that can't even tell me what he's going to do the job.
Donald Trump is the example of someone who, one, obviously has super duper high self-esteem in himself. To the point of
what was your first
he's like a narcissist, and he lives in a world where fucking logic doesn't fucking apply. He he cheats out his contractors. He says, that makes me a smart businessman. If I don't pay my taxes, that makes me a smart businessman. Oh, you would just take those taxes and give it to people on welfare. No, you're an asshole, and you're a cheat, and you're a liar, you're a thief. And don't get me wrong, I know it's very easy for me to say, oh, he's a racist and he's this and he's that, and I kind of make that joke. And yeah, you see pictures of him with like Don King and him with Mike Tyson and a couple other black celebrities and stuff like that. I don't think he's literally Hitler. I don't think he's a fucking, I don't think he's planning things with Russia. I don't think he's the head of the Ku Klux Klan.
No.
But that being said, he's not prepared to be the leader of the United States. He's not prepared to be arguably the most powerful man on the face of the planet.
No.
He's a businessman. He makes business decisions. For some reason, his ego is so inflated that he gets people to buy into his bullshit. That's the reason half of this country, when you look at the numbers, it's always like, 40-something, he's sold half this country on fucking bullshit ideas with no backing up, which is probably what he's done when he's built these hotels. He promised he's the fucking world, doesn't fucking deliver. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's trying to fucking start World War III. But I think if you put him in fucking office, I think he's gonna make bad decisions to the point where we will be in fucking World War III.
I do think that a lot of it is like he's trying to do this for entertainment value, but I don't think he's thinking through this. And here's a point that Hillary Clinton made. If you really believe that much in the American job structure and everything, why are your ties? Why are your Trump stuff made overseas?
In China? Yeah, it's just he doesn't see reality. He doesn't see reality, and he thinks he's doing the right thing. I don't think
we have.
I think in his own objective world. Aaron says, if he has a bad hair day, we're fucked. As I'm saying, I mean, this guy who has a finger on the button, and doesn't like what fucking Saturday Night Live is saying about him. What's gonna say when world leaders insult him? Are we gonna go to war the same way we went to war and fucking sent troops into fucking Iraq and Afghanistan when we should have sent them into Pakistan to fucking get Osama bin Laden? We don't need that kind of. He's going to lie and tell people exactly what they want to hear to do things that are only going to benefit him and his friends. And that's not a good leader. He doesn't have the country's best interest at heart.
And I will say this to the Republicans out there that have broken away from Trump, you're smart. I will tell you this. I started seeing some of this on the internet. Number one, do not fucking sit there and go, well, we're going to block Hillary's candidate for Supreme Court. Because if you do that shit, you're going to lose the Senate and the House anyways at some point in the next 2 years. So that's number one. Number two, just if you can't sit there and say that you don't want Trump, but then be like, I don't want Clinton. Who are you going to get? Johnson? Johnson ain't going to do shit. You're going to get Stein? Stein ain't going to do shit.
Yeah, Johnson and Stein aren't.
Oh, and my favorite thing, here's something that you guys don't know, and it's finally coming out on the web, and Paul Ryan actually indicated this, and this is what I think a lot of people that were voting for Bernie Sanders want to hear. What is Bernie Sanders going to get out of this election? If we elect Democrats across the board on November 8th, if we vote them across the board, and I want all of you, when you hear this podcast, I want you to do that. Chuck Norris. Let's not talk about Chuck Norris.
See, now if Chuck Norris was in office, I'd have nothing to worry about.
Well, he voted for Trump, so I question him now. But anyways, you guys got to go out and vote Democrat across the board. Unless, obviously, the Democrat is a piece of shit. Don't vote him or her in. But President, Senator, House of Representative, vote them across the board. Because here's the thing. If we do that and we get these people in, Bernie Sanders will take over the Budget Committee in the Senate. What that means is those things that you guys wanted will happen. That means that we're not going to have, we're worried about spending. Guess what? There won't be any more spending because Bernie will be like, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the money that's being spent
Right.
on fucking military
Exactly.
and shit like that will then now actually go to colleges where we can educate our people and not be fucking ninth in the world when it comes to fucking education and shit like that.
And here's another thing too is our roads need a lot of work. Our infrastructure, the bridges need to be done. A lot of bridges still haven't been done here in Rochester. A lot of them have been fixed, but there's a lot more that need to be fixed. We need stuff that makes sense. Okay, and here's another thing I want to add to this too. A lot of people have a problem with police officers. Why are we not? We give money to our military. We give money to protect us overseas and obviously around the United States of America. Why are we not using federal funds to pay for these body cameras that everybody wants? You know what I mean? Why are we not? Why are we wasting our time here? Let's give every single police department, whether it's one police officer in the town or hundreds, give them the body cameras, and then there's no excuse. Okay? And by the way, if they turn it off and something major happens, they get fired immediately. Fired
investigated. I don't want to open that can of worms. Though.
But I'm not opening that can of worms.
Plenty of episodes talking about.
But what I'm trying to say is I think if we do get this all to happen and Bernie Sanders is in it, we need to do smart spending here and we need to do it correctly and we need to get our budget down. Yeah. We need to get the budget down. Because
when Bill Clinton was in office,
we
balanced the budget. We actually had a surplus in the budget. And you're going to tell me Hillary wasn't in on that? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying Hillary being who she is. And, don't get me wrong. Hillary is a fucking ruthless fucking politician. Don't get me wrong. She's not Mother Goose, and she's not going to fucking sit there and hold her hands. She is a fucking no-nonsense woman who's going to take care of fucking business. And you know what? When Bill Clinton was president, she was sitting there in those meetings with him. She was sitting there. Now, of course, he's getting blowjobs on the side, but that's neither here or there. She wasn't sitting with him, obviously, when that was going on. But, she was there partially as an advisor. Not to mention, the way a wife is supposed to be with her husband. So I think when and if Hillary gets elected, we're going to see the surplus again. We're going to see a balanced budget. And we can bring back a better economy. So I think we've exhausted that on Oscar's letter. Once again, Oscar, thank you for contributing. That gave us.
Thank you for making a discussion, because there we go.
Yeah, of course, it's very easy to call me a fat, bald loser fuck who can't get laid and has a stupid beard and a big gigantic head. It's very easy to say that, but you gave us something we can talk about.
Oh, I love it.
So we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
I may agree with that.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, so New York Comic Con, Paul. We would have recorded, once again, I apologize to our listeners. We would have recorded last week, but I was still in New York City last week when we were scheduled to record. I was cheating on you. I went down. This time last week I was recording another podcast, Cinema Psyops.
You were cheating on me again.
Yeah,
bastard.
It's a podcast I've been listening to. It's called Cinema Psyops, PSYOPS, and the hosts are Matt and Court, and they do a show about watching movies that are sort of like, they're horror movies, but they're also movies that kind of fuck you up in the head, you know. And so what they're doing is they're having on other people from other podcasts come on and talk about movies that kind of fucked them up when they were a kid growing up. So I did an episode on there's a movie called Terror Vision. And it's a horror movie, but it's also kind of funny, and it's a weird movie. And so I went, because when I saw that like at 10 years old, it fucked me up in my head that it got me, at my 10-year-old brain, I was thinking that fucking monsters can come out of the TV and fucking eat you and shit like that. So
are we going back to some clown shit here?
I was 10 years old at the time. So they're not going to release the episode for like another 3 weeks because they have a couple episodes already built up, and they don't want to release them all at once. So when that episode comes out in about 3-4 weeks, stay tuned, because it was a fun episode. I want to say a big shout out to Matt and Court. It was a really good. It was, one day do a good show. Their production value is fantastic. Nothing like the fucking shit we do on this show. This show we just throw the mic on and fucking record.
I plan on upgrading my stuff for podcasting. So
they sound like a professional fucking radio show.
Right.
We just get on and just have diarrhea of the mouth.
Thanks for putting it that way.
But a shout out to them, and when the episode comes out, I'll definitely have it all over social media.
Oh, New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con. Once again, another fucking great year in the books.
I had you fucks running around so much.
Well, and of course, going under the umbrella of the Toonami faithful, got our press pass. I was there.
I'm gonna be an ass.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there 10 o'clock every morning, every day, because I'm not gonna sit there. Because according to Matt Cartelli was the cameraman. And
so in case you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Toonami News on Twitter. I don't know if you can see that.
Toonami News on Twitter.
I don't know if you can see that live. I don't know.
Toonami at Toonami News.
I'm basically Toonami on. We're basically Toonami on Twitter, but whatever.
So Matt being my cameraman, he got there every day like at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to get there at 10 when there's crowds of people trying to get into the building.
Right.
And things were a little different this year. And I have to admit, I got there maybe 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock. When I walked in, maybe it's because I have the press pass, I walked right the fuck in.
It's probably a good thing.
Matt was there at 10 o'clock every morning when the crowds were building up for hours. And, of course, you can't just have fucking people bum rush the fucking doors. You got to have people, work their way in. And so I got to say, of course, they had a bag check. You got to do the bag check. They check your ID. Your ID has the RFID chip on it. They have these little iPads that you tap your card. They tap your ID. They pass on it, so they know it's you. So if you leave, you can't just give it to your friend, and they already have you clocked in and stuff like that. So
Chris would totally do that for me.
Yeah, no, well,
shh, you didn't hear that.
And there were other things going on at other parts of the show. Like Matt had left Comic-Con a couple times to go to Roseland. Was it Roseland? Or no, Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah.
John Galbo of the Adventure Club Podcast Network.
Let's make this proper. Adult Swim Central. Agents of Geek.
Yep. And Adventure Club Podcast Network. John Galbo, he went to a couple of things like in Madison Square Garden.
Shout out to John.
Yeah. Oh, definitely shout out to John, because it's funny. Matt was my cameraman.
I will finally meet you one of these days.
And then
I swear.
I was John's cameraman, and so I had such a fucking blast. So a big shout out to Matt for coming out. And like I said, he was there every morning, and he dealt with the crowds. I'm like, fuck that. I'll get there half an hour late and walk right in. Let the crowds fucking dissipate. Now, of course, when you go in, there are people who haven't gotten their passes yet, so they're online. Luckily, we don't have to wait. But I felt like you have to cut through that line to get into the building. I do have to say, security seemed to be on point. They had the bag checks. They were fucking plenty of cops on the inside. I mean,
with all the terrorists, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, in a group like that where people can just walk in.
Not saying that there's terrorists that go to New York Comic Con. I'm just saying.
Well, no. I mean, no. Yeah. It was a place where literally thousands of people were going to be.
Right.
Thank God, and I saw NYPD. I saw state troopers. Like,
surprised.
And like, what a fucking sweet gig. Like, if you were a cop, and of course you can't goof off, but you could probably just walk in. Well, then
I can tell you right now, the security guards at the theater I work at, they get paid a lot of money, and I mean, some of them are like former, like one of them is a current RPD officer, but like they just get paid so much money. It's kind of funny, and they're just standing there. I mean, nothing really happens. I mean,
they're watching the crowd, and of course, if shit fucking pops off, they're the first line of defense. Right. But it was well organized. I know Reed Pop, the people who organize this thing, they kind of get a bum rap because not only did you have to get your ID, you get your ID, you have to register it, you have to go to the website. When you get there, luckily I already had I forget what they call it, certified my pass. I had all my shit taken care of, but like. They want to make sure you're you, and I understand, and let me tell you, that first day, there were guys outside selling bootleg passes, but I'm like, how the fuck did they sell it? But you know what? They weren't there the next 3 days.
Oh, they got
arrested. I think the cops saw the problem, and they fucking addressed it right fucking quick.
They probably did.
Because I did not see them the other 3 days. They were there on Thursday.
I guarantee you what probably happened is they probably had people that were like, quote-unquote, secret shoppers that... Because obviously you have to arrest people. You have to do something and then they can get arrested. So they had these secret shoppers go up and purchase the thing. And then after they purchased it, arrested right on the spot.
Yeah. And so but like I said, they were there on Thursday, but they were not there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
So let's talk about the fun you had.
Let's talk about the fun. Well, first, I'm going to go in kind of chronological order. A big shout out to the DC area. And I don't want to say DC booth because that sort of does... DC kind of takes over a whole corner of the Jacob Javits Center.
Jesus.
And I got to say, DC was so cool only because, like, they had merch and they had stuff to give away, but that shit changed, like, on the hour. And if you didn't get it at that time, you didn't see it again for the rest of the con.
Wow,
so, like, I got some cool buttons. I guess they're going to do a crossover with the Watchmen and Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. So
like a movie or
no in the comics.
I thought so.
And so like there's buttons that have the Superman logo, the Batman logo, and the Wonder Woman logo, but with the splash of blood from the Watchmen comic.
That's awesome.
They had Mad TV buttons, Vertigo buttons, because Vertigo's under DC. Comics. They had stuff that, like I said, they put it there. And they had stuff, every time I went, there was stuff there. But every time I went, it was different stuff. So I much props to fucking DC. And I'm a DC, of the comic book companies, I'm a DC fanboy. Marvel's doing good, and I'm not going to shit on Marvel. I'm just saying my preference is DC. Let me see. Then the funny thing is, downstairs they had this thing called, the product, and this isn't an endorsement anyway, it's called G Fuel. And it's sort of a powdered energy drink / Gatorade. It's a Gatorade / energy drink thing.
Yeah.
And they had the most fucking unnatural colors, like fluorescent blue and green and shit like that. But every time I wanted it, like every time I was feeling a little down, I went down and grabbed, And they had all 4 days. They had fucking bins full of this stuff. So to keep myself going, I was drinking the energy fuel. And here's a tip: if you're gonna go to Comic-Con, I don't give a fuck if you're cosplaying or not. Wear comfortable shoes. Because my fat ass was on my feet for fucking 4 days. I mean, yeah, of course, you go to panels and you sit down and stuff like that. But if you're going to be walking around, and there's absolutely no way you could take in all of Comic-Con in 1 day.
Right.
You can't. It's physically impossible. So
there's no, like, there's a lot of cons that are big that you, like, Dragon Con, like, is across, like, a couple hotels. I haven't been to that yet. If Toonami ever goes, I probably will. But I know for a fact that is like, you probably will never. I mean, you probably could do it in a couple days, but like,
yeah, and don't get me wrong, we had the interviews, and I didn't mind doing the interviews. But so that kind of, I had it, okay, at 2:00 we're going to do this interview. At 5:00 we're going to do this interview. So that sort of kept me from doing everything that I wanted to do. But then again, I'm there on a fucking press pass. It's my job to go there, go and do the fucking interviews. So the first interview was with LaShawn Thomas. And if that name doesn't ring a bell to you, he was the animation director on shows like The Boondocks on Adult Swim and Black Dynamite. He's done a couple of comics. You know, he's an animator. He's a production designer. He's a couple of.
May I add the big one, Cannon Busters?
Cannon Busters, which is coming out, and then he was brought out during the Crunchyroll panel. Crunchyroll is a service, for those who don't know, it's a service that lets you stream anime. And so
the only like anime company that announced something new, I think, like something like new right at the con, which is good. I'm sitting there like watching you guys tweet, and I'm like, where the hell's LaShawn? And then all of a sudden they introduced him. I'm like, oh
yeah,
shit.
It was kind of surprised. They weren't. I mean, you knew it was happening because you were in contact or whatever, but that wasn't a public
right.
thing.
And I'm like, oh shit, here comes Cannon Busters, and then all of a sudden he introduces.
It's not even Cannon Busters.
No,
it's well. I think if I understand correctly, Cannon Busters is sort of that hasn't been decided where it's going to be distributed on. I don't think it's. You know. I think it's still up in the air. I don't think it's going to be on. Not that it's not going to be on Crunchyroll, but there's shopping options around. If I understand correctly, I could be totally wrong. But
well, I know that a lot of us have wanted Cannon Busters on Toonami. I'm hoping that Adult Swim picks that up. They do know who LaShawn Thomas is, so it's a lot easier. I don't know.
Black Dynamite and the Boondocks. Both those shows are on Adult Swim, not on Toonami. Right. But I mean, it's in the same family.
Right.
And
it's an American action cartoon because it was made here, so you know it works. But what was the show?
And so the show they announced, which is going to be made through Crunchyroll. That's going to be a Crunchyroll exclusive, at least in the beginning. Is a show called Children of Ether. Am I understanding? Yeah, Children of Ether.
Ether, yeah.
And I had mistaken because somewhere when they put something on the screen, it said Either, and I had asked them specifically, is it Children of Either or Children of Ether?
Yeah,
it's Ether.
That's where I got confused because I was telling people Either.
Yeah, it's as in out of the ether. It's
right.
So he says, you know, without totally stealing, he goes, it's sort of a world that there is sort of a force, like Star Wars force, and it's a show about like these 3 orphans, and there is sort of like a force, and people get talents and learn how to fight and using the quote unquote force. But I think what really makes the show original is that it's sort of a futuristic mashup world of where Tokyo meets New York City. So there's guys like with like skinny jeans and sneakers, but they also have like kabuki masks on.
Well, let's not like spoil that too much because we did an interview with him. I'm sure he's explained a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's more to it in the interview, but that alone is sort of like just to kind of give you a taste on the idea of what's going on with it.
Here's the big part about this, and this is in the anime world. You know, here's an original show that Crunchyroll has. That's big. That's an original show. That's not them going and getting the license for something. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know what Crunchyroll is, it's a company that streams anime. Crunchyroll.com, you can see what they do. But the thing is they do a lot of sub-anime. They don't usually have English dubs on their channel. But to have something like this is big news.
Yeah,
and I'm very happy about that.
Sub meaning subtitled.
Subtitled.
For those
English subtitled.
For the fans of the show that don't
Japanese
follow.
with English subtitles.
Yeah, dub meaning they dubbed over with American voices or English voices. Sub meaning with subtitles.
And this is obviously going to be English, so it's going to be really good to see this. I'm excited.
Well, the big trend is doing sub and dub at the same time,
right.
like so, or doing the Japanese and the American version at the same time. So. When they animate it, they can pretty much release them at the same time.
And that interview is not done yet. Once it is, hopefully by the time this podcast is out, everything will be out. But right now, as we're recording this, it is not done yet. So. And
he's a boy from the Bronx. Call me someone with a little hometown pride. I mean, I lived in the Bronx for a little while, and so it was nice to see a local boy. Doing well,
and I love LaShawn. We us at the Toonami Faithful podcast love LaShawn, and we're hoping that we can kind of get Toonami to get Cannon Busters, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping, because I would like to see some more American action. I would like to see an action American cartoon on there for once. So, but yeah. So what was next?
So then, I had went to this is a funny one, Blurs and Afro-Punks panel. Blurs meaning black nerds, Afro-Punks sort of, black people who traditionally aren't into rock and roll but are into rock and roll. Afro-Punks and Blurs panel, which I found to be incredibly amazing. People into comics, into anime, into rock and roll. And two of the people that were at that particular panel were Vernon Reid and Corey Glover, the guitarist and lead singer of In Living Color. And it was just such an interesting thing. I mean, being a metalhead growing up in New York City, I grew up with a lot of friends of mine who were people of color, Hispanic and black, that liked rock and roll, liked comic books and stuff like that. And so, we were always sort of like outcasts. I mean, not that I'm like Mr. Person of Color. I know I'm not. But for all intents and purposes, being a Puerto Rican, I am a person of color. So it was really an eye-opening, enlightening panel to go to. And it's funny, sometimes I feel like a real asshole when I say shit that's kind of like I say shit that's racist. I mean, come on, let's fucking be real here. But
you could probably get away with it more than I could.
But I'm saying, going to a panel like that, I almost feel like, damn, I'm an asshole sometimes, and I know I'm an asshole. But I mean, it's good. It's good being around people who are about shit. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, when I work here in Rochester, I work in neighborhoods that are filled with people that aren't about shit, or at least not the ones that come and fucking interact with me. So let me see. So then after that, the next day that's when I was working with John Galbo, right. And so once again through Agents of Geek, he had gotten some pretty decent interviews. The first one was there's a show coming to Adult Swim called Dream Corp LLC, and it's a live action show about people who go to see this doctor.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And the doctor it's sort of like, imagine like Inception and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind kind of a show where they go into your dreams, and it's a comedy. They go into your dreams and they fight your nightmares, and they try to they go into your dreams and they try to figure out what's wrong with you and how to fix it. And what I like cool about the show is that they do rotoscoping. Like, if you ever seen there's a movie called This Waking Life or A Scanner Darkly, this with Keanu Reeves and what's his face. If you imagine the movie A Scanner Darkly, where they take live action but they kind of animate each frame. So when they go into the people's dreams, they go into what's called rotoscoping animation. It's that funky, dreamy like animation where then they in the dreams, and then once you go into the animation, you can do whatever. You can fight giant snakes. You can you can have all types of crazy, trippy things going on.
Right.
So the two people that stuck out in that interview, Stephen Merchant, who is he's known for a lot of things, but he was the voice of Wheatley in Portal 2. He's friends with Ricky Gervais. He's a tall British guy. I think he was in he might have been in one of the fucking Tooth Fairy movies or something like that.
Right.
He's a British actor, and they say he was that show that Ricky Gervais, the podcast show that Ricky Gervais did. He was Ricky Gervais's co-host. He's the voice of a robot, and they had a robot built by the Henson Company. And then the doctor was actor John Grise. Mostly, I know him mostly as Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. He played the Wolfman in Monster Squad. He was, he was in Real Genius. He's in a bunch of movies. So meeting him was so fucking cool. And when I took a picture with him, he's first I took a picture with him and he goes, "Hold on," and he caresses my beard, and I took a so Uncle Rico touched my beard.
That's what she said.
Then that night, so then we got to meet Doc Hammer and Jackson Public. This was the second one. The creators of Venture Brothers, and these guys are they're geniuses. I guess that's the best way I could put it. These guys, they're comedy geniuses. They're definitely like rock stars. It's funny, even when I got a chance to meet them, they took a picture not even looking at me, sort of that's sort of the goof. Okay, they'll take a picture with you, but I'm not going to look at the camera. Okay, I'll get it. And the only thing that sucked is that, like, when I'm there with John, they had put the wall. This is at the top of the Jacob Javits Center, so the top of the Jacob Javits Center is all glass. The sun's coming in. They have the wall that has the Reed Pop words on it, but the sun is like literally just coming over the wall that says Reed Pop on it. So it totally washed out John's videos. They all look kind of bluish and stuff like that. Not our fault, and they didn't want to move the wall. And I mean, I would have felt weird to ask them, but and so. But the interviews were pretty funny with the guys from the Venture Brothers, Doc Hammer and Jackson Public. And then we did another interview with the guys from an Adult Swim show that I haven't seen, but I've heard about, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. And it's Matt Servito, and then two of the creators. Well, Matt Servito and Dana Snyder. Dana Snyder is most people would know him as the voice of Master Shake. And, funny guy. Even when I went to take a picture with him, like right before the camera went off, he shook the hell out of me. And he goes, I do that to everyone when they take a picture. So that's why I picture with him, I have like this goofy look on my face. And then I got to meet Chris Kelly, or he's also credited as Casper Kelly, and Dave Willis. They're sort of like two of the guys that helped create Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and they're behind the show Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. So I got a chance to meet them. I know there was another guy behind Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but I know Casper Kelly kind of joined in later on. Dave Willis is definitely one of the original creators. So the funny thing is, John Galbo, this in between interviews, John goes to use the bathroom. I don't know why I keep calling him John Galbo, but just say John Galbo goes to use the bathroom. 2 seconds later, Andy Serkis walks by. Andy Serkis, fucking Smeagol, Gollum, Snoke, the actor, walks by the room, and he was surrounded by people. I would have loved to fucking see if I could get a picture with him. So then, and the funny thing is, even Dana Snyder, the guy, the voice of Master Shake, he just came out of the bathroom, because we're up in the press area in the back. So when you go to use the bathroom, it could be anybody, any celebrity. That's a real place where the celebrities would be, because it's in the back. That's like a protected area, but we're there doing interviews. And fucking Andy Serkis walks by, and I'm like, dude, this fucking Andy Serkis. And then John Galbo just walked into the bathroom when Andy Serkis was leaving. Like, shit. I don't know. But then he was surrounded by people, but I would have loved to like try to get a picture with him. Okay, so then the next day we got to meet 3 of the actors from the One Punch Man cartoon.
Yes, we did.
Those who watch the podcast, or those who understand, I don't watch anime. I don't even have cable. I didn't even have internet. I'm meeting the guys from One Punch Man, and I said, look, you have to forgive me and understand, I don't have cable. I've never seen this show. Here I am interviewing you about your show. I've never seen it. And they all seem pretty fucking cool about it. The guys are, let me see, Eric Scott Kimmerer, who does the voice of Speed of Sound Sonic, Chris Jai Alex, who does Lord Boros, and Zach Aguilar, who does the voice of Genos. These guys are so fucking cool. Now, the funny thing is that this is an anime. There are people in the room, the press room, that are like Japanese, like super old school fashioned Japanese, real quiet, real respectful and shit like that. And they're doing one interview on the other side of the room, and I'm with the voice actors on this side of the room. And, I'm there to have a good fucking time. We had a really good interview. It's really, really fun. Unfortunately, the audio didn't come out that great, from what I understand. But
it was okay. It wasn't the best that it was. That interview is done, and it is awaiting approval. So
we have to wait for the people who put out One Punch Man to say if it's okay for us to put it out. But she's the woman that was there said she doesn't see a problem. They just But we were talking mostly about being like a voice actor and stuff like that, and it was a fun interview. Of most of that was definitely one of the highlights of the whole weekend of Comic-Con. Those guys were so much fucking fun, and if you get a chance, check out One Punch Man. I actually went to a panel. They gave like the first 2 episodes of the show ever, and I got a chance to watch it. So I enjoyed the first 2 episodes at least.
Maybe I'll let you watch some of it.
Yeah. Okay, then I got a chance to interview this is years ago. One of the people who came onto the show to promote her comic book, Janine Frederick. If you go back into this episode's this show's podcast history before Paul was on the show, Janine Frederick, she did a comic book called Quandary. So it turns out she sold the comic book to a company called PKKM. So I went to the PKKM booth, got a chance to interview her. I'm going to put that out eventually. I just haven't had a chance to sit in front of my computer. But definitely check out their site, pkkm.com. And the cool thing is when you sign up for their newsletter, they will send you, sequentially, over every month you'll get a download. And it's basically the episode 0 of their comics. So, like when sometimes you go to a comic book store and you see issue 0. Now you can get those for free digitally. And if you like it, then you go out and you buy the physical copies. So, and like I said, the Janine Frederick, her comic was called Quandary, but they had one called Core, C-O-R, and another one called Laws of Resistance. So check that out. All right, so then I do an interview. Me and Matt do an interview for the new Powerpuff Girls. And maybe it's just me, and maybe in my imagination, I think the girl who plays Buttercup, Natalie Palamides, I think she was flirting with me. And now, mind you, she's married and everything like that, and I don't want to, maybe it's just me. Maybe because I'm a sad, poor, desperate man.
Can I say something to you? I think that you thought that every girl was flirting.
I think everyone was flirting with me.
I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
That,
well, no, and that was. Did I put that in my notes about the? I didn't. I got to talk about the Rotten Tomatoes panel. Okay, so no, but it was really interesting interviewing them. The girl who plays Bubbles she's 20 years old. And she's Asian and German. That's a weird comment. She's a Korean and German, excuse me. And super hot. Natalie was cute too. All the girls there were cute. And then actually during the interview, and I hope we release this, I had kind of given him an idea about if the girls had switched characters. Like if it's Mojo Jojo hits you with a personality ray, and you have to switch bodies with one of your sisters. Who would you choose? And so one of the the second part of the interview, we interviewed one of the writers who's also a voice, and the girl who does Blossom. And the writer, and they had started going back and forth as this can be an episode idea. So I might have inspired a future episode of Powerpuff Girls. So the check in the mail, you could find me twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com.
Actually, send it to Pulp Skrillo.
And so that was pretty cool. And then so back, I had went to a Rotten Tomatoes panel, and their panel was called Your Opinion Sucks, where they have people come in and they give their opinion on movies, and then the panel was sort of if you took a movie that was popular and you said it sucked, then the people would say, oh, you're full of shit. Or if you took a movie that a lot of people said sucked and you said it was brilliant, you come and say I'm brilliant. A guy came in and said, I thought Batman v Superman was the best movie ever, or whatever. And then the whole room was going crazy, you're fucking crazy, or whatever. All right, so this fucking kid comes up and says The Matrix, he wants to say The Matrix was horrible. And the fucking room fucking turned on him. The whole room.
Oh, really?
Are you fucking... So he's talking. Now, mind you, I happen to be sitting right by the mic, and he's there or whatever. And the woman, Gray Drake, she's a person from Rotten Tomatoes. She's there, and I'm like, and I started screaming, "How old are you?" The kid's like, "Were you even born when The Matrix came out?" And he says, "No, I wasn't." I said, "How old were you in '99? Were you even born yet?" He goes, "No, I wasn't." And so I scream at the time, "I reject this millennial and his shitty opinions." And then she throws herself in between us or whatever. And that was because for this fucking kid who wasn't even alive when The Matrix came out, for him to say he thought it's, and then saying what's the Cloud Atlas was good. So this kid was obviously fucking. There was something fucking wrong with this fucking kid.
I think he was fucking with
Well, no, I mean but he was like, "Oh, it was boring." I forgot, and I just remember just chewing into him, and that was pretty fun.
Kids don't remember this shit because they never got the experience in the movie.
Exactly. I mean, it's like I think part of the reason The Matrix was so good is when it was released in 1999.
Now, I will say to you, the first two were good. The third one,
well, I mean, two. Even if you said 2 sucked, I get. Yeah, 2 wasn't that great. 3 wasn't that great. But part 1 was like one of the best fucking movies ever made. Okay. Oh, then I went to the Powerpuff Girls panel because first we did the interview. Then they did a panel, and they had actually read a script. It was sort of like the Powerpuff Girls coming to New York Comic Con. And actually, they had 2 cameos. They had the kid who does the voice of Finn from Adventure Time. He showed up. And the kid who does the voice of Beast Boy from Teen Titans showed up. So that was pretty cool. Then, let me see what else. All right. Tons of Harley Quinns.
Shitty ones?
A lot of fat Harley Quinns.
Oh.
So, I didn't say this, but in my mind I'm thinking, you're Harley Quinn. You're Hardy Quinn. You're too much pudding. Oh my God.
If you do watch this, you'll see why I'm doing this.
Too many people who should not have been dressed up in poom poom shorts and fishnet stockings. You know.
Did you yell at them too?
Well, I didn't. I should have. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm not trying to dress up like someone skinny, so don't fucking chew my head off. I gotta give a shout out to my boy Louis Bowden. He was in the pictures. Those who follow my social media, he was the pictures I took of Zombie Mario, and he has a following on Instagram. And it's weird because like he kind of has this like following on Instagram, and he cosplays as Zombie Mario. And that was a guy he went to high school with. Like, you know, we were not that I don't want to say we were good friends, but I mean we ran in the same circle, and so it was so fucking cool hanging out with him. Hanging out with another buddy of mine, Shafayat, who he only came for the last day. But, you know, it was so cool fucking hanging out with old high school buddies. And...
should have that piece of news.
Leonardo DiCaprio to produce Captain Planet movie.
Yeah. I guess good things do happen.
Oh, so Jen says, my Harley pick should be the thumbnail for this episode. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be really huge. Well, they are really huge, but, you know. And I touched their pussies.
And so then the last interview we did was with Justin Rojas of Funimation. Funimation being a company that distributes anime here in the United States. Well, they do it around the world, but he's in charge, or you know, he's a big wig here on the United States side, and he does a show on Twitch TV called Double Talk. Now, what sucks this year at New York Comic Con was that usually last year he was at the booth every day, kind of taking care of things. This year I go to the Funimation booth, and it was all people. Everyone who was working there were people who work for FYE. Like these are people who used to working in the mall and shit like that. So I'm showing up and I have my press credentials, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm here to interview Justin Rojas. Is he here? And all these people are like, huh? Who? Who are you talking? None of your fucking boss, the guy who's in charge here. And so it was so weird. Like every time I went, like I had to keep asking around different people because the people who were manning the booth didn't even know who the fuck their boss was, who was technically the one in charge. Now, of course, Justin this year was very fucking busy, so we only had a chance to see him Sunday afternoon. And so him and Lauren Moore, who I have the biggest crush on, she's fucking cute. You get people like, oh yeah, crush. She's fucking hot. There's a reason why I have a crush on her.
She is hot. You're right.
You know, getting to you know, well, I had met her last year, and we were chatting last year and stuff like that. And then this year, I wasn't expecting her to be there, so I told Justin, I said, "Oh, when you see Lauren, tell her I have a crush on her." And when did you know, like, we're done with the interview, she happens to walk up, and, like, she had, like, obviously just came off the street, because she had, like, her street jacket on and stuff like that. I'm like, Lauren, I just told Justin I had a crush on you. Which, you know, I'm pretty sure she gets that from all the fucking fat losers who like anime. Let me see. Oh, no, there's nothing.
You're highly picked.
And speaking of losers, okay, so that's pretty much my New York.
Well, we did an interview with IQ.
We did an interview. Oh yeah, we did an interview with IQ, which is out right now. I just put it up on my Facebook page. Rapper IQ. Unfortunately, we had to do 2 interviews because the first one, the audio was really shitty. But I'm glad we got a chance to do it a second time. I was able to kind of get my questions out a little easier.
We did you also did an interview with Charlene.
Oh, Charlene. Then when we did the One Punch Man interview, Charlene, who is like the public relations person for Viz Media, because One Punch Man is under Viz Media, and we got a chance to do it with her. I mean, she was super cool and everything. I mean, that one was more, she's talking about a product. I mean, that. I don't want to say it wasn't fun. We she was cool and everything like that. I mean, all the other interviews were kind of like fun. You got to, with her it was sort of, nuts and bolts. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with nuts and bolts. Kind of talking about, But it was funny. There's certain things they couldn't talk about, but I can't. I guess just to be on the safe side, I'm not going to mention what they can't talk about. Because she had brought up, and Matt kept hammering, "What about this? What about that?" And she goes, "Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it."
I'm sure it was One Punch Man season 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so.
Well, and see, that was the thing. Like I had said to you guys, I'm like, do not ask about Dragon Ball Super. Do not ask about Dragon Ball Super to Justin. And all of a sudden, I hear from both of you, "Oh, he can't answer questions on Dragon Ball Z Kai, Buu, Saga, and Dragon Ball Super." And I'm like, okay, I did tell you to ask about Kai, but I'm guessing Matt asked him about Super anyways. Which...
I think Matt had put it in my notes or whatever, and so I was sort of like, and then Justin's like, "Can't talk about it, can't talk about it." But so that was sort of my my New York Comic Con experience. Now that being said, and I forgot one last thing. The wrestler Christian.
Yeah.
He was getting out of a cab, like, right outside Jacob Javits Center.
He said, "Go fuck yourself."
And it was raining. And I was like, "Christian, can I get a selfie?" And he's like, he looked at me and he was like, you could tell he was not into it. He was irritable as fuck. It's like, "Can we do it when you get inside?" And I'm like, "All right." I'm not going to fuck with Christian. I'm not going to fuck with a guy who could powerbomb me in the fucking sidewalk. So I left him alone. So, I'm not saying he was bad or angry. He looked pissed off and I wasn't going to fuck with him. I wasn't going to insist on a picture. But like I said, nerdy losers. Can I take a moment and just say fuck Alex Trebek? For this was sort of going on
Welcome to the world internet. Of Nerdcore, yes.
Yeah, so this contestant goes on Jeopardy and says that she's a fan of nerdcore rap, and he goes, "Oh, nerdcore rap, what's that?" And she goes, "A rap where people they talk about the things they like anime and nerdy things," and she goes, "And how they have trouble finding dates." And then Alex Trebek goes, "Losers." And I'm like, motherfucker. Losers are your fucking demographic. Nerds and geeks and shit like that watch fucking Jeopardy. And for you to fucking sit and that's the first thing out of your fucking mouth. Losers. I would love to see Alex Trebek play Jeopardy. Like, play Jeopardy. Because unless I'm wrong, and maybe someone quote me, Has Alex Trebek ever been a contestant on the show? No. And I think, and of course, if he was to do it, they would probably choose topics. Whenever you watch, like, Celebrity Jeopardy, they ask fucking easy questions. No, I think we should choose an average selection of topics, not shit that he's fucking expert on. Because I'm pretty sure if he was to do Jeopardy as a publicity stunt or whatever, they would probably choose subjects that he's, he knows all about Renaissance art, so we'll ask Renaissance art questions. No, I would love to see him without his fucking answer cards, because he's a smarmy little fuck. And let me tell you, I like Jeopardy. I've been watching Jeopardy since I was a fucking kid. I used to watch it with my dad. That was probably part of like some of the better fucking memories of my childhood, watching Jeopardy with my dad, because my dad was a smart guy, and I used to love watching it. But he gets real fucking smarmy when people get shit wrong, and he has the cards in front of him. And I would love to see him without the cards answer fucking questions. And I hate it when they talk to the contestants. That shit irritates me, because it's like he's talking to the contestants, and then when they actually play the game, or like he'll like someone will get the question wrong and he'll comment and shit like that, and like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the answer was Archimedes." Come on, Archimedes, and like he takes too, and like then the game runs out of time. And like, Alex, all you have to do is say is no, wrong, and then fucking keep it moving. He talks too fucking much. And for a guy who's fucking bread and butter, who's probably paid for his house through fucking catering to fucking nerds and geeks, or what he calls fucking losers, for the past fucking 30 years or however long he's been on Jeopardy, you're biting the hand that feeds you, and that shit irritates me that he would say something like that, like losers. I could call myself a loser because that's me goofing on me. Motherfucker, you built your whole fucking fortune on these losers. So that's my 2 cents on Alex Trebek.
Well, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of if you look out into the nerdcore hip hop world right now, there's a lot of "Suck It, Trebek" and whatever songs.
What's his face?
And by the way, thank you, Trebek, for doing that, because a lot of us are like, oh look, we can actually get some press now. So,
what was it? Daryl Hammond plays Sean Connery. And Sean Connery as Sean Connery on Jeopardy, "Suck it, Trebek." Yeah. So fuck you, Trebek. I think we should wrap it up.
That's what she said.
Oh, well, real quick, and it's not really news because it's been so old, but it was on my Facebook timeline. They've decided on the name on the Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman movie. They're going to call it The Batman.
Yes.
Because we're running out of things instead of The Dark Knight and Batman and so we're going to call it The Batman. Like, it reminds me of that cartoon that came out like 10 years ago that was called just The Batman. Okay. Right now we're in a what would you call that? A temporary flux as we switch over our servers from SoundCloud, from Podomatic to SoundCloud. But hopefully you could still visit twostrangersonepodcast.net and find everything show related. You can find links to our iTunes. And once again, this is all in flux as we're recording this October 17th, 2016. You can see if our episodes are still up on iTunes. And if not, just keep coming back or check out the podcast or check us out on Facebook.com/twostrangersonepodcast, and we'll get you the instructions on how to continue listening to the show. We will be on iTunes, hopefully, when we get that all situated. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you can find us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app. You can put the option to listen later and to listen offline.
Jeopardy boycott.
Jen saying Jeopardy boycott. And trust me, I do kind of... I was thinking, like, instead of maybe a Jeopardy boycott, maybe starting like a petition.org. Like, either a petition.org to get Alex Trebek to apologize, or 2, have Alex Trebek be on an episode. Like, I wonder if I should probably spearhead that, through the podcast or something like that.
Be fine with me.
And we get the nerdcore rappers behind it and their fans. It would be like, either he has to apologize and or do an episode, and anything he wins. And of course, we'll do the whole deal. Like, obviously, when he wins, it'll be for charity, or something like that. But then again, I want him to be embarrassed. I want him to answer questions that he doesn't know about. I want him to be fucking humbled. I don't want the producers of the show to fucking give him softballs of shit that he fucking knows about. Okay. Once again, we're on the Stitcher app. You can put it on the listen later option and listen offline option. So when you're in your Wi-Fi spot and we're at home, or you're at McDonald's or the public library or any of the places
yeah,
with
McDonald's.
Wi-Fi. So instead of killing your battery and killing your data plan, you can download them all when you're at home and listen to them.
Killing your health.
Yeah, when you're out and about listening to them, because it doesn't drain your battery, doesn't drain your data plan. That's how I listen to my podcasts. Kevin Smith's Smodcast, Chris Hardwick's Nerdist, This American Life, Adam Carolla, Mark Maron, and of course Paul's other baby. The whole reason I even got a chance to go to New York Comic Con, the Tanami Faithful podcast, is on Stitcher. Check them out if that's not your thing. Episode for sure, Jen says. Do you mean as Jen? Are you saying that you believe he should be forced to do an episode without the cue cards, without the cards?
Probably.
Which is and I swear maybe we should do like a change.org petition. Let me see what else. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/twostrangersonepodcast. As we're streaming right now, we're on that page. Check us out. Follow us. Once again, we want your money. We need your money. But if you can't give us 2 seconds, Jen just say yes. Thank you, Jen. It takes 2 seconds to like this page. It takes 2 seconds to share this episode or this page on your timeline. Every little bit helps. I think when I do have Wi-Fi in my house, I will start spamming the shit out of the entire internet to check out our page. Let me see. You can write to us, as Oscar did, on twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. And ask us a question. Look, we spent the first half an hour of the show, probably not the most interesting fucking half an hour of podcasting, but, he asked us about our political opinions, and we gave it to him. So if you want to reach out to the show, if you're not streaming us right now, you can reach out to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com.
Give us your stranger feedback.
Yeah, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like.
You like that stranger feedback? Did I do that right?
Stranger feedback, yeah. And let me see. Then, of course, we are on we're on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. Once again, I wish I had more. I wish I did more on that, but I will. I need Wi-Fi. Damn it.
See if Two Strangers, One Podcast is on SoundCloud.
I acquiesce the floor to you, sir. Or it technically is. I just haven't uploaded an episode yet. The last one should have been uploaded. I haven't gotten to it yet because I've been away from the computer.
Goddamn piece of shit.
I haven't had a chance. I mean, I get on the internet on my phone, but I can't upload the podcast from my phone. That's fucking ridiculous. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
Okay, well. So you can find me on Twitter at Paul Biscrillo. You can find me on Instagram. It's instagram.com/Paul Biscrillo. You can also ask me questions. It's ask.fm/Paul Biscrillo. And if you want to email me, it's paulbiscrillo@toonamifaithful.com. That is my official email, so please do email me. And again, you should like the Stranger page, Two Strangers One Podcast. It's facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast. So please do like our page.
Share us with your friends. Hey, I know those guys. They're friends of mine. They do a podcast and they're famous and they get laid.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Right. You should be fapping
all night. You might want to hit the...
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia is spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the Double Jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
yeah,
man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.